Whole train of thought. What if my wish is my command? What if I literally all I have to do is just say something and it comes true? I was watching this video earlier today with Jason Silva. He was talking about how literally um AI art is now the instant gratification, instant manifestation of our perceptions, of our ideas, of our thoughts. We can take them from idea to art created within a minute. And uh, there's a great there's greatness in this. It's a very useful tool, but like all tools, it's a double-edged sword. It can be used for good or evil. It can be improving our lives or pulling away from our lives. It's just a matter of how we want to look at it. One train of thought, one school of thought is that AI art is unnatural. It's not what humans would do, and it actually uh steals the art from other artists, whether they gave the AI bot the rights, that artist gave the AI bot the rights to do so or not, guess is really irrelevant, to be honest. Just because, like, as a creative person, like, how many times are artists stealing or borrowing from other artists? Like, come on. That's like what happens all the time. And I know you can say, like, well, it's not going to look exactly the same. It's just going to be this person's rendition of that. And yeah, okay. But I guess, okay, let me put it to you this way. When I was a little kid, my dad used to draw. Like, he would have like a book, like a nature photography book or something. And he would literally just look at it and he would hand draw what was on that page. And he could have put it out there and been like, this is my art. And people would have loved it and would have thought nothing of it, even though he literally just took that art. I mean, he wrote it, he drew it, but in the exact style of that book, of what was in that book. And it might have only been a photograph, not actual art. So he's basically turning the photography into art, kind of like what AI does. But all I'm saying is he didn't come up with that idea. He didn't say, like, this is the bird that I want to draw right off the top of his head and just draw it. He was looking at the page, a picture of it. And how often are artists, I mean, obviously this varies from artist to artist, but a lot of times artists are doing the exact same thing, but instead of a picture in a book, they're doing it based on what they're seeing around them. So there's like a naked person in front of them and they're drawing the naked person, or there's a beach and they're drawing the beach. And obviously it's not, I doubt that unless they have like a memory kind of like a photograph. I mean, everyone is different. So yeah, it's possible that they are able to see what's around them as if it was a picture, is what I'm trying to say. And that picture, then they draw. But usually it's moving. There's some kind of movement to what is being drawn, unless it's literally like an object, like a bed that's just sitting there. So the majority of things, I guess, any animate object, any animate thing, creature, human, something, alien. I don't know. Anything that's moving is more difficult to draw in the way that I was just describing, as opposed to a picture. That's why a picture is probably better to do this thing that I'm talking about with. But either way, the thing that I'm trying to get across is that um who actually knows what I'm trying to get across? The art itself was created from a, you know, an inanimate object, a picture, or an inanimate object, something in the room That's stationary, sitting still, non volatile, not not moving. Okay, you get the drift. The gist, drift, 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 gist, drift, drift. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, sorry for the shaking. I need to not put my hands on the desk because it shakes. It freaking shakes the camera. The computer is unstable on the desk and it's shaking the camera. So anyway, all I'm trying to say here is a very simple concept that, okay, so going back to my dad, he's drawing something that he just looked into a book and then drew, right? And how many artists are, you know, unoriginal in this? Let's just call, okay, original artists versus unoriginal artists, which I don't think you could really put any artist in either of those camps. I think there's always going to be, it's going to be a scale. So I don't want to be divisive here. I don't want to be black and white. I'm not trying to be black and white here. I'm just trying to say that literally the art that is created by some is just what they're seeing. They're just translating it. They're basically like taking a picture with their eyes and then transmuting that with their hands onto a piece of paper or wherever they're drawing. And like that's one form of art where you're literally just looking at something and drawing it. And I would say that's relatively uncreative, though you could have some creativity with the way that it's being drawn. But if you literally draw exactly as you see it, granted, we all see things differently, so it will be art, but it's, I want to say, less creative art as opposed to art that comes from someone's mind. But what is coming from someone's mind other than the pictures that they've seen? So they've seen pictures or images or video, or they've been in experiences that they've recorded in their brains or mental camera, and now they're translating that into art. Okay, so now that's, I guess you could say, more creative. So is creativity just like the ability to pull something from your head, when you're, I guess, prompted? Oh my god, brains just freaking AIs. You give your brain a prompt. I want to draw a poodle. Your brain figures out how to draw a poodle, and then boom. So literally, I guess you could say the AI is an artist in itself. So it's like taking all the different consciousnesses of any artist that was plugged into the AI computer, and it's taking that art, and it's turning that art uh, through that filter of all those artists that were inserted into it. It's turning that into what that consciousness would create. So really, it's like, imagine if it was like a super person or a person who um was like 10 people in one. So like you could combine consciousnesses of 10 different people and like 10 artists. Just imagine that. And you could just create like a super artist, right? Super artist. Well, that's basically what AI is. It's created a super artist out of however many artists or whoever artists are plugged into it, whatever paintings are plugged into the bot, the AI. Then it basically uses that style and it spits out exactly what the prompt says to do, right? So that's what artists are really doing, is they're literally getting a prompt from the idea bank of their brain, and then they're running that through their creativity, through their creative abilities, and then they're creating something, right? So I don't know, I'm just trying to make that distinction with like, what is a prompt? A prompt is just an idea, right? So the idea, um, it either goes, well, obviously an idea comes from a brain. So, or could it come from something else? I don't know. But what we're used to ideas coming from is in human brains, right? Human brains create ideas. And you could think of a human brain as a computer, a supercomputer, or not so supercomputer, depending on the person. But the brain is a computer of sorts and an AI machine of sorts. And we just plug those ideas in there, and then we can either create the art with our hands if we want to actually create art, or if it's an idea that we'd like to actualize, then it would be, um, yeah, obviously we would take the time that it takes in order to actualize that idea. So we are AI in a sort. Like we literally are AI actually. If you really want to, if you want to think about it on a certain level, we are in, okay, let's just say I instead of AI. It's not artificial intelligence, I guess it's just I. But in terms of how it functions, obviously humans have emotions, which is not which is what differentiates it from a computer, but AI. So art artificial meaning robotic, computer generated intelligence. And then we have intelligence. And the artificial side of it is, I guess certain people are have artificial intelligence, which is like they only like superficial things. Like, isn't that artificial intelligence or super? I guess it's more superficial intelligence. Superficial intelligence. That's a new thing to describe people as. You have such superficial intelligence. No, that's like the new derogatory term to call people. You have such superficial intelligence. I'm gonna go over here to artificial intelligence. So much better than you. Artificial is way better than superficial, because superficial is not even close to real. You know that it's so fake. But artificial intelligence, it actually kind of looks real. Like it fools you. So I know that your intelligence sucks. With artificial intelligence, it might not suck. It might be all right, but it might actually suck. But it's disguised, artificial, and it's like putting up a front. So anyway, what the fuck am I talking about? So yeah, I just think that this idea of artificial intelligence being this thing that's stealing people's ideas, I think if you think about it in terms of what I'm just describing, how humans do have this kind of AI computer already built into them. Oh, and I forgot to mention the part about like, so think about all the things that an artist is imagining in their minds. It's usually experiences that they've had, or things they've heard or things they've seen. That's usually where the ideas come from. They usually don't come out of thin air, like out of nowhere, unless maybe they're tapping into infinite intelligence, which I guess is very possible, especially if they're inebriated. They could be tapping into something beyond themselves, something outside of their own memory bank. But so then it's like binary in terms of where is it coming from? Not binary. You know what I'm trying to say. It's either one or the other. So it's either coming from their memory bank or it's coming from their um thing. I'm a Bob. Their memory bank or their unconscious intelligence, like the infinite intelligence that Napoleon Hill has actually written about. For those of you who are into personal development, into those types of things, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, was one of the first personal development books that I ever read. Thank you to my cousin Jeffrey for giving me that book when I was a wee lad when I graduated college. Much appreciated, Jeffrey. Uh, that book, it was awesome. It changed my mind about certain things, and it made me pursue money at a degree that I actually don't know if it was healthy. And I think it actually, that aspect of it, the goal, making the goal to get rich, that thing, that idea virus, I guess I could call it, is actually pretty damaging. And I I'm glad that I experienced it, and it still affects me to this day, but I kind of wish that I was never infected with that idea virus. And the more that I become minimalistic in my life, and the more that I move in the direction of the direction that I want to go, which is living off grid and creating creating my own food, either a garden that I have, or food that I'm raising, animals that I'm raising, or some kind of network of people that I'm living around, that are we're basically bartering with the goods that we create, with the sustenance that we create, um with any sort of I guess skills that we have, and any way that we want to support each other. So, like, that is my goal that I want to move towards. And I don't think that if you're going for rich, like, you don't think about that kind of shit. I mean, maybe it crosses your mind here and there, but it's like, when you aim for money, what you're doing is you're aiming for the means to get the things that you want, when maybe there's a way to go directly to the things you want without sacrificing your whole life, or I don't know, 30, 40 years to pay off a home or something like that. Maybe 30, 40 years is a long time to pay off a home. Maybe 10, 20 years. Okay. So instead of sacrificing 10 or 20 years to pay off a home, you could build a home, and that might take you a year or two. So, like, when you're trying to get rich, you're taking this long game. I mean, obviously people are like trying to get rich quick, get rich overnight. So that's like next level, like, insanity, because you disappoint yourself so many times when you attempt to do that, because it almost never happens. It only happens like if you win the lottery. But yeah, like I said, very rare for you to get rich quick overnight. So, uh all I'm trying to say is, if instead of just focusing on the money, instead you can focus on the things that you think the money is going to get you. And I got news for you, folks. Literally everything you own started in the ground. Am I saying something crazy? Is this earth shattering for you? Like, it's like everyone's trying to earn all this money so they can buy shit, when you could literally grow it. You know how they said, like, money doesn't grow on trees? Well, it actually comes from trees. Like literally, the paper that the money is on, the money's printed on, is fucking from a tree. So it does fucking grow on trees. You're a fucking scam artist, whoever came up with that. You're a propagandist trying to get people to, like, think that, like, money, or at least the things that you buy with money, can't be grown. But come on. Literally everything that you buy with money was grown. If you look around you, literally look around your room right now, everything came from the ground, or an animal that was feeding off the ground. Like, just try and prove me wrong. Try and prove me wrong. Bet you can. Literally everything. So I think pursuing money, especially when the value of money is progressively getting lower and lower in terms of purchasing power, like it just makes sense to figure out how to just like instead of like using the middleman, using money as a middleman, like why not go direct to the thing, right? So figuring out how to grow shit is very important. It's very useful because if you figure out how to grow shit, then you don't need to buy that shit. Whatever you can figure out how to grow, you no longer need to buy it. So you no longer need to work in order to get the money in order to get the thing. So it's like, oh my God, really? That simple, Jomo? Yeah, I'm trying to tell you what is. Okay, I'm trying to tell you what it is. Well, obviously, there's hard work involved in growing food, and I've just started growing food over the last like 6 months. Like I have this hydroponic garden, and I'm growing some herbs, and like it's getting my feet wet. So at least like I'm moving in that direction. This is like taking me so long just to like take the leap into this lifestyle. I've worked on a couple of farms. Like I've learned how to plant things and how to tend to and water things and make sure that it's, safe during at night if it's cold, like how to cover it, and how to like make sure that everything's running properly once it's set up on something like a permaculture farm. Because I house that on a permaculture farm for a couple weeks. And so I understand to some level how to do this stuff, but it's like I haven't done it enough. And like that's what I'm frustrated most about is feeling like I've wanted to do more and I haven't. And I've held myself back from that because I've put the freaking carrot on the stick, the money on the stick, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to make money, keep trying to make money. Eventually, I'll just make enough money that I can just buy a house. I can eventually just buy the food that I need. And I'm like, oh my God, this is way more work than I thought it was. So it's like, wow, wow. I think I should have not gone from the carrot of off grid living to the carrot of money. So, anyway, that was a rant about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It was a great book. When I read it, I got a lot of great ideas from it. It made me see the importance of masterminds, made me see the importance of, taking your ideas and monetizing them, which honestly, I don't really like that. It's kind of gross, but I know that's how every entrepreneur has made their money. So, anyway, there's just something that rubs me the wrong way about obviously we all need to survive. We all need to exist in some way and we're using money to transact between each other, but come on, guys. Like there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way that we have than a way that we literally have no control over what it actually is the value. You have $1 today, and then 2 years from now, it's worth a quarter. And it's like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, that's just a weird thing. That literally someone else is telling us how much that dollar is worth. Like, don't you see the craziness of that? Wouldn't it make more sense to have a local currency that doesn't change in value? $1 today is $1 in 2 years. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Why are we addicted to this idea of the value of things going up and usury? Literally, usury is what makes America great. America is great because it's the land of the free that think the land of those that think they're free, I should say. Those who think that they're not in handcuffs when they literally have to go on a hamster wheel every day just to fucking survive. How is that free? Yeah, obviously you have a few people that have a shit ton of money. But the majority of people don't. And the majority of people are either living paycheck to paycheck or are literally deep in debt. Credit card, mortgage debt, um, swimming pool debt, vacation debt. Like, what? How is that free? No, when you are in debt, you are the opposite of free. You literally can't do what you want to do until you pay the collector, the person who you are indebted to. So I don't see that as free. Um, so there's got to be a better way than obviously the way that isn't working. So I just think the idea of, just focusing your energy on making money, getting rich, and that's your whole life's purpose, you miss out on what's actually happening with money and how it's just a system that's broken. So, how about we, use our collective AI to come up with an amazing idea that wouldn't involve a devaluing, constantly devaluing currency, constantly devaluing currency. Why is that a good idea? Who thinks that's a good idea? Really? If you really think about it, if you had the option when you were born, what system would you like to be a part of? Would you like to be a part of a currency that starts at $1 today and ends at 10 cents by the time you're 30 or 20? Do you think that's a good idea? Would you like to be a part of that? Doesn't that sound like such a great way to bring people together and to get people feeling good and to feel like your life's meaningful? You know? Don't you want to just constantly feel the need to work every day? Doesn't that sound sexy to you? Don't you want to feel like there's no choice in the matter? That if you wake up one day and you feel like shit, you just keep fucking plugging away. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do in the land of the free. Ha ha. Yes, yes, yes. Let me tell you, that is what we do in the land of the free. We exchange our time for money. That's what we do in the land of the free. Tell me what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Why do I think that this is such a scam? What else would it be other than that? Clearly, it's a scam. Clearly, everyone has been duped into believing this is the only option. Do you get it? That's why it's a scam. So it's like, which way do we want to go? Which way do we want to go? Do we want to continue walking down this path that obviously isn't working? Or do we want to forge a new path? A path that actually will work? One that, with intelligent foresight and thought, based on our experiences, our life experiences, trial and error, figuring out how can we exist in this world without the holy godly uh printed pieces of paper that can burn with fucking within an instant if you set a flame to it. What? Of course there's got to be a better way. Of course that's not the only way. So let's start thinking and imagining, right? Maybe let's put this in the Chat GPT AI prompt. Though, actually, now that I think about it, that might not be a good idea because the Chat GPT AI most likely will say something along the lines of, "This is the best currency ever known to man." No, actually, I really don't know. I'm curious if anyone wants to try putting it in Chat GPT. I want to know what it says. If you ask Chat GPT to come up with an alternate form of exchange other than US dollars that constantly lose value and any fiat currency and any culture that has interest either being paid by the borrower or being paid to the lender. I want to know if there's a better way. I know there is, but I want to know what ChatGPT thinks is the better way. And then let me know. Because I'm not really good at designing prompts with ChatGPT. I haven't really tried it. I'm not skilled, but I know someone out there is probably skilled, so, or at least has experience. So you tell me once you've done that. I would love to know. Thank you. That would be very helpful in continuing this conversation. So, in terms of where I'm going with all this, where am I going with all this? Is this all a meandering circle that Jomo doesn't even know what he's talking about anymore? Yes, to some degree, but on another hand, I think there might be a point. There has to be a point, as Bill Hicks once said. There has to be a point. There has to be a point. Come on, there has to be a point in my existence. There has to be a point. I need to know what that point is. Where is the point of the pencil? And where does it intersect with my life? Where is that point? Point of the pencil to the paper, writing down my life. Where is it? I want to know where is that pencil that knows what my life purpose is, that I can just grab and then just let it do its job to write down my purpose. I just want that pencil. Get me that pencil. Can anyone get me that pencil? I just want the pencil. The pencil that will tell me what my life purpose is. We'll get to the point. Will tell me what my life purpose is at the point of connection between the pencil and the paper. I want to know. Where? Tell me where. Where is the point? What is the point? I think the point is what we make of it. What we make of it, whatever we want it to be, is the point. So rather than taking someone else's ideas and telling you that's what the point is, this is the point of life. You must go to work for 40 years, and then you can retire. This is your point. This is your purpose. Why are we listening to me? I don't know, but I guess I am so hypnotizing because I give you all the sexy things, even though they're not really yours to own because they can be taken away at any time by those who own everything. It's getting closer and closer to reality. Thank you very much, Klaus Schwab. Schwabe. Why does Klaus Schwab exist? Schwabe. Like, come on, guys. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Like, come on, guys. When did anyone think that was a good idea? God, I don't even know what that noise is. There's like a clicking noise. I don't even have my fan on. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, sorry. I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm trying to get you to understand that there's no deeper purpose for humanity, okay? And everyone who tells you that there is a fucking charlatan. They are trying to direct you in whatever way they want you to go. Their agenda will be manifested if you follow what they tell you. Whenever you hear someone outside of you telling you what the meaning of your life is, it's obviously to their benefit to tell you what where they want you to go. Huh. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought it? So you got to be careful when you hear that shit. When people are telling you you will own nothing and you will be happy. The purpose of your life is to be a good person. The purpose of your life is to make money and be rich. The purpose of your life is to be so happy and free. Look, I'm just saying, any of these things can be chosen by you, but you have to be conscious and choose wisely. And it's all on the menu. It's all on the menu. So it's like, which choice on the menu are you going to choose? Don't just go for the one that everyone else around you seems to be following. Like, no, that's so uncreative. I'm gonna call you a frickin' what did I say? Superficial intelligence. You're such a superficial intelligence if you're just literally following the herd. If you're following what everyone else is doing, come on. You have a frickin' brain and you can think for yourself and you can come up with your own purpose. Okay? That's the beauty of having a mind and having your own sense of reasoning and your own sense of abilities and your own ability to progress and advance in whatever direction you want to advance. You are literally a supercomputer if you wish to tap into it that can create what it wants to create. You are literally a powerful creator. I'm saying that only because I heard Abraham Hicks say it. No, I'm saying that because like literally you are. Like obviously besides like impediments and things that stand in your way that you can't overcome, there are plenty of things that in your mind you think stand in your way, but you absolutely can overcome. And so like all you got to do is figure out how to do the thing. And yeah, I guess you do have to model other human beings that did the thing that you want to do. You know, monkey see, monkey do. Or you could be the very first. You could be the very first person to ever do something, and then you can literally pave the way for other people. It really is amazing. Like, you have that ability. You have the ability to come up with your own creative ideas that are actually, kind of like I hinted at earlier, an accumulation of other people's ideas. So, anyway, here comes the point. You ready for the point of this conversation? At least for the moment. Because this conversation apparently has had many points. So the point of this conversation, or at least the point of this moment in this conversation, is actually why are you charging money and claiming rights of art that is literally stolen, borrowed, taken from others or other things around you? Are you literally, what if I go back to where every artist that has created that art, what if I went back to where they got that art and I told that person where they got it from, did you know that this artist was inspired by you? Did you know that this artist was inspired by you? Did you know that this artist modeled his song after your song? Would you like any credit for that? Would you like to make money off of that? It depends on who you ask, but for the most part, people are gonna be like, no, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. Some people will be like, yeah, damn right. Okay, so now what happens when you go to that person and you ask them for their art that the other person stole, modeled? What if you ask them where did they come up with that idea? What if you were able to access their consciousness and look into their memory bank if they weren't willing to tell you where that idea came from, or if they're like, I just made it up myself? And you found in their memory bank, like you literally found a song that they got that from, or a piece of art that they got that from. And like you're like, then you go back to that person. And it's like literally an infinite thing where you're like literally just going from person to person to person to person to person, finding out where they got their ideas. Where did they get their ideas from? Where did they get their ideas from? Where did they get their ideas from? Where did they get their And you literally could go on and on and on and on. And you will most likely never, ever, ever run out of people. Because one person's giving ideas to another person. That same person's giving their ideas to another person. And it's literally happening all the time, 24/7. That's literally what being a human is literally absorbing ideas from our outside environment or the people around us or the things around us. And then getting ideas from that. Do you understand that literally AI art, when you make the argument and you say the artists that the AI was, stealing from, they deserve credit for that, or they deserve to get royalties for that. What you're saying is they deserve to get royalties. Every single fucking person before them, before that they got their ideas from, deserves royalty. Literally everyone deserves royalties. Everyone. What if I told you that the royalty is already here? What if I told you that the royalty that you're looking for, that you think comes in the form of dollar bills, y'all, is actually your divine spirit, your free spirit? What if that is the reparations for your creativity? It's not reparations. It's always been there. It's literally the thing that you create things from. It's the place that you create things from. So the place that you create things from is infinitely valuable because you can literally create as much as you want as long as you're alive, as long as you have the capacities to. You can create anything that your hands and your mind, anything that you can think of, right? Anything that can be thought of can be created, whatever. There's a quote in there somewhere from like a philosopher or something. Philosopher, schmalosopher. All I'm saying, I'm a philosopher. Anyone's a philosopher. Everyone's a philosopher who has the time for it. Let's be honest. Anyone who has the time to sit down and shoot the shit is a philosopher. There's more advanced philosophers. I guess you could say they have a higher level of thinking. They are very intelligent. And then you have the synthetic intelligence, or the superficial intelligence. You have some of those, and you have a spectrum. But either way, literally, you have intelligence there. You have people that have the ability to philosophize, and therefore they can be philosophers, or you can consider them philosophers in that moment of philosophizing. A philosophizing raptor. I can't help but come up with brilliant ideas. Here's a brilliant idea. Here's another brilliant idea. Philosopher raptor. Something like that. What do you think of that one? A philosopher raptor. Anyway, here's what I'm trying to say. Am I actually trying to say anything? Like I said, saying lots of things. Trying to say lots of things here. Trying to say this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. But anyway, the art, okay? This discussion about who has the right to the art, in my opinion, nobody. And everyone has the right to any piece of art, in that they can take it and they can remix it and make it their own. Anyone has the right to do that. They could. Here's the thing. When you involve that dollar system, the money system, in this conversation, it's a completely different conversation than if you don't involve the money system. Well, if we didn't have money, how would artists get paid? how would artists get paid? There was no money. Well, guess what? They wouldn't be paid with money, but what they would be paid with if they do a good enough job is attention, adoration, friendship, connection, being able to contribute something to the community around them. Like that is currency, right? It doesn't have to be this freaking dollar. It can just be here's a thing that's beautiful that someone else thinks is really cool and they're willing to trade what they have for that. And it could be that simple, right? Like a simple barter system that doesn't have a currency that can be earned interest on. What the fuck is that? You're just getting like zeros added to your balance. Like what is even happening? It's just like a digital thing on the screen, and now oh look, we're just gonna add some more digits to the screen. Digits to the screen. Oh, by the way, those digits that are on the screen, you used to be able to buy a TV with that, but no longer you can. You can only buy a microwave with that. You can't buy a TV anymore because we said so. We make the rules here. Yeah, that's who you want to fear. The people who make the fucking rules, guys. So always have a sense of um, questioning authority, questioning those who make the rules, figuring out what is their agenda? Why are they telling us this? Do they actually want the best for us? Or do they have an agenda that they want to execute? And in my opinion, the agenda in this case is to most likely create some kind of war between people and get us fighting each other instead of realizing that we can unite, we can work together, and we don't need their shitty system. Like, their agenda is to make us think that we need their shitty system. That's their agenda. So if we realize we don't need their shitty system, then really, like, a lot of these concepts go out the window. Because no longer are we like arguing over this should be worth more, this should be worth less, this should be worth whatever the fuck I say it is. This is how much I'm willing to pay. Like, it's like, come on. I know that is to some degree what's happening if you go to a barter system, is there will be some kind of thing like that, but perhaps it can be unanimously voted on how much or what value certain things have. I don't know. That actually is kind of annoying. The idea of like voting on the value of anything. Like that's weird actually, because that is what's happening right now. So maybe I don't want to suggest that. I want to figure out a different way that it's just like more based on the person to person relationship. It's like, does this person that you're talking with, like, do they need this thing? Are they willing to trade it for this other thing that they need help with? Or sorry, that you need help with? Are they willing to trade that thing that you have for the help that you need? And I honestly, the best thing along these lines that I've seen is the time bank concept, which is like you work for an hour and you put that hour in a time bank, and then like your hour, as long as you're working for an hour, obviously people can cheat the system because they can be like fucking off for an hour. So I mean, there's definitely loopholes to that. So I don't know if there is like a loophole free system, but I do like the idea if everyone is earnestly working, putting their skills to use, then they get like an hour of time bank money, you could call it. And then they can trade that 1 hour of time bank money for something else that someone else, I guess, has come up with the value of. I don't, there's still some weird things about this that I haven't explored. So, but yeah, as far as like time banking and just like a barter system that is more universal in the sense that everyone's time is worth the same amount. Like like I think that's where the psychosis of our society really comes from, is certain people being worth saying they're worth $10,000 an hour. I will not work for less than $10,000 an hour. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you know that kid down the street is literally working an hour for $10? And you have the audacity to say that your hour is worth 10,000. This other person, $10. Yeah, that's about what they're worth. That's what I would pay them, $10. But I'm worth 10,000. Like, do you understand the amount of self-entitledness that is? And it's literally encouraged. It's like the our society like glorifies people who charge crazy amounts of money. It's nuts. Like the people who get paid millions of dollars a year, they're the celebrities. Like, think about that. Like, the people who you see on television are the ones who are making all the money. They're the ones who are charging $10,000 an hour. Like, and you wonder if this system is useful when literally the public figures in the system are the ones who are standing on those pedestals, those monetary pedestals. So it's like these pedestals that people put themselves on, they disconnect themselves from everyone else who's below them, and sees everyone else as a pawn and a slave that they could potentially uh pay. They could pay slaves to work. It's like, oh, if I charge 10,000 an hour, I'll have all this money to pay. I'll be able to pay for 100 slaves. Let's charge 10,000 an hour so I can pay 100 slaves $10 an hour. Yeah, let's do that. Like, do you understand? It's literally slavery. It's slavery. I don't care how you wanna sugarcoat it. Oh my god, those people working 10,000 an hour, 10,000 per hour. They put so much work in. They're such hard workers. Look, I'm sure it was difficult on their come up. At the point they're at right now, I know they have all this stress of having to deal with all their slave employees. Oh my god, what a burden having to deal with all these slaves that literally support you. How horrible. Like, come on. Let's just be real here. Let's just be real. Okay? Just try and be real. It's literally a giant pyramid, and the people at the top are the people that we glorify. Why are we glorifying the people at the top of the pyramid? And why do we think, oh, well, they did it. I can do it too? Well, how fucking big is the top of that pyramid? And also, you want a bunch of slaves? Is that what you're saying? If you want to rise up the ranks, think about what you're rising up. You're rising up more and more control over people. As you rise up, as you make more money, you have more and more control over other people. Do you see how that's kind of fucked up? Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that sees how fucked up that shit is? Hope not. Okay. So, look, it's the reality we find ourselves in right now. There can be another way. There should be another way. There has to be another way. Is a better way to say it. There has to be. Okay. And obviously, it's not going to be perfect. Everyone isn't going to live happily ever after, and everything's going to be equal. There's never going to be inequality. There will be inequality to certain like slight degrees. And that's totally going to be based on, I guess, work ethic or, you know, how much you contribute to the community. So I don't know how that will work either, but I don't want it to be uniform where like literally everyone gets the same stuff. Like that's weird. I think like everyone should be able to like take care of their own land, take care of their own space, and have as much as they can produce from their own land and from, working with the community. So, yeah, as far as what the rules of that would look like, there probably need to be some rules. I don't know what the rules are. I've never designed a society before, and it's weird to even think if this like that this is gonna be a society because I don't like that idea. I don't like feeling like I'm like in control or coming up with the idea. I don't like to come up with the idea. No, I'm just kidding. I like the idea. I like coming up with the idea. But I don't I don't want to be the one that I don't want my ideas to be put on a pedestal and like worshipped or followed to a T without questioning and without feedback. Like there needs to be a feedback loop here rather than like I think that's what's wrong with a lot of, you know, dictatorships is there's no feedback loop. It's like you what you say is true without question. Like that's obviously not the way. So the way I think is giving ideas, sharing ideas, having a group of people in the community coming together, discussing ideas, coming up with solutions, ways to have a cohesive community, and I think that's important is making sure that everyone in the community has a voice, isn't just listening and following to whatever was put upon them when they were born or whatever is put upon them, in their minds right now, like, or sorry, whatever was put upon them by an outside influence. So I want it to be a collaborative thing. So those are my thoughts on a better way, a parallel society, parallel community. Doesn't need to be just one big parallel community. In fact, I think that's a terrible idea. There's got to be many, many, multiple millions, perhaps, parallel societies. So let's create our parallel societies, guys. Are you in? You don't have to create one with me, but you want to create your own in your city, in your area. Let's fucking do that shit, man. I love John Bush's idea, if you know John Bush's, the freedom cell communities. I only wonder about the overall overarching intention of the freedom cell communities because like obviously it's so weird. It's like on one hand, like this is what I was talking about earlier with the tools. It's like on one hand, these tools are useful. On the other hand, they can be used terribly. So it's like, okay, now with the Freedom Cell network, now you know where all these people live, you know where all these freedom cells are. It's like now you're becoming the surveillance state, whoever created the Freedom Cell network. So, but I think it is important. Maybe there's a way it can be done in a decentralized way where there's no one person who created that at the top, who is like has the ability to do whatever the fuck he wants with that information, but instead like a decentralized node where like maybe there's like a master kind of rule book or guidebook that can be followed or not followed, and each individual town can or each individual node on the decentralized network, each individual node can create their own rules within that community, within that network, or within their node network. So, uh, yeah, I think that's along the lines of where we're gonna go with this, or where I would like to go with it, and I shouldn't just assume that you're gonna come with me. Like you're gonna join me on this journey. You're gonna join me because Jomo has the best idea. No, I want you to consider it and ask yourself, what are the other options? Like what are the other alternatives other than the system that we find ourselves in right now? Like obviously it's not working and it's going to get worse. Like there's no doubt it's going to get worse. Like you think it's just going to all of a sudden just like go back in time? Like I wish we could just go back to the 90s. Like no, that shit is not happening. The momentum is there. It's not going to stop. And there's too many people at the top that are perpetuating it and will continue to grind it until the wheels fall off, basically. And I think that eventually the wheels are going to fall off 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like, it's only a matter of time. And so, what are we going to do in the meantime? Are we just going to sit in the car and just wait for the wheels to fall off? Or are we going to create a more like sustainable, efficient car? A way that doesn't have those inevitabilities of the wheels falling off. So let's aim for that. Let's create parallel societies that don't have the potential for the wheels to fall off. Let's make them dynamic and adapting and changing to the community's needs. And let's see where that takes us. You know, and let's strive to create something that can be duplicated, can be modeled, and something that obviously works. Once we figure out that it works, then it can be duplicated and other people can follow that if they want to. Once again, if they want to. That is literally the underlying framework, is always it's free will, it's choice. This is an option on the menu. This is an option on the menu. This is the option on the menu. Isn't that so much better than you are born? Here is your menu. Only one thing on the menu. Now, you must follow that one thing, and you must eat that one thing on the menu every single day. Day in, day out, day in, day out. You must abide by the money god. You must bow to the money god. You must work your whole life for the money god. You must do that for the money god. So, come on. Come on, guys. There's got to be a better way than this ridiculousness. Ridiculousness. So, I'm just putting those ideas out to the universe. Let's see how the universe wants to respond. I love when the universe responds and gives me feedback. So please be a participant and give me some feedback about these ideas that I have shared this evening. Thank you so much for participating in the Jomo experience tonight. And I will bid you adieu until we speak next. Peace and love. Kisses.